Hey, good morning, Patriots. Good to see you all here. We see you and you see us, and that's a good thing. So it's good to be seen, and no better a person to be seen with than Chris Cordani. Good morning, Chris.
Well, that's not what a lot of people have said, but thank you for that anyway. Good morrow, good sir. I'm
There
trying to
he
use
is.
better
He's coming in
vocabulary.
slow.
Yes.
He's been out combing bottles off the beach in Santa Monica looking for Ed McMahon evidence of Ed McMahon's old drinking habits. But good morning, Chris.
Good morning, sir. Yes. I guess it's a little slow today. The stupid internet. You cut down the Amtrak service. You cut down the internet. New York's terrible these days, I guess.
I know it is. But what's not terrible is the U.S. Army. I wanted to start the show this morning by
My
doing a
home
shout
team, by
out
the
to
way.
the
Yes.
Army.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they're kicking ass in football. Overall 9-0.
Yeah.
Wow, what the heck's going on?
And they're number
And
18 ranked around the
yeah,
country. They beat
I
Notre now
know.
they're facing Notre Dame on the 23rd. That is gonna
Oh
be an
yeah,
interesting game. Notre Dame is this
major
Yep.
major game. Yeah,
I think they have a shot. Now they're in Notre Dame, but I believe they have a shot. They have a mobile quarterback. They're underestimated. Their running game is absolutely spectacular, and their
yeah,
defense hasn't been bad. Their defense will go through a big test today, though.
yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big football guy, but God bless the Army. I mean, this is great. And then I see the Navy right now is not bad, 7-3.
No,
But the 1st of December is the big day. That's the Army Navy game. So all
right.
this other stuff is just window dressing leading up to the Army Navy game. Just saying. So
Well, hold on a sec. Army, if they beat Notre Dame and they go undefeated, they have a fair chance to become one of the top 12 teams in the nation and get a
wow,
chance to win the national championship.
there
That
you
would be a
go.
huge first. That's going to be huge for Army because Army, and you know this, Army is not a football first school, but they are
It
definitely,
is not. No,
they're definitely, but they're
that's
always
not in
one of
their top five. No, it's good, but not. Yeah, it's not. This is not like a team that the Pentagon puts a lot of time into picking the right folks to be on the football team. Just saying. So you're correct on that, Chris.
no,
Yes.
but still, they're usually one of the most physically fit teams in the country and one of the
Yeah.
most athletic teams in the country. It's skill wise, they don't always pick the football guys, but you get a couple of good guys and a whole school full of potentially great athletes.
Yeah.
You're going to have a nice talent pool to pick from no matter
Well, I think
what. And
that's why
these
they have a
years are
good
going to
shot at
happen.
Notre Dame because I think if they catch them at a time they're coming off a hangover from being drunk from drinking Guinness, I think that's a good shot. They have a good shot. So,
Right. And it is the holidays. The holidays are coming up. You got to catch them
yeah.
around St. Patrick's Day. Too bad they don't play around then. That's a different story, though. Uh,
Yeah. So, well,
Army's
anyway, but yeah, we'll
That's
we'll
my home
be
team.
yeah, well, we'll be seeing what happens with Army Navy. So yes, this is all great, but we'll see what happens.
I did it.
Go Army beat Navy. I
I
know the
did
folks in the
attend.
chatter are like the Navy. Look, I'm
Uh,
dating a Navy lieutenant commander, so I like the Navy. The Navy are cool. So
well, that's also my home team because I live in Orange County, New York. That's where all West Point is, right down,
yeah,
let's say it's about 30 minutes from where I live.
yeah.
So, yep,
I've
yep.
been to West Point several times. So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Well, geez, next time you come up, we got to do some men in the street stuff. There we go. But
Well, it's been a while. The last time I was there, actually, Fox News brought me up. I did the pregame coverage for Fox News
oh,
back in God 2015.
wow.
December of 2015. They had me come up to West Point. We did some B-roll, hung around with the football team, got some good footage of that, and then the day of the game in Philadelphia, I was there with a bunch of folks to cover it. So, and I actually saw my friend Joe Dunford, Chairman Dunford was there for the game, and I actually kissed and made
Oh.
up with Mark Milley, but that was a short kiss and made up session. Just saying, that's no Mark and I I'll just talk about this for 1 second. Mark and I were at odds, as if we're not now,
Yeah.
over the Bo Bergdahl issue because he was the deciding officer to do the court martial of Bo Bergdahl back in 2015. Yeah, and so I got wind he was going to do it anyway. Caused some controversy. Millie was upset with me. We, agreed to get over being mad at each other, and here we are mad at each other again. Just some people, you're always going to be mad at some. There he is.
Yeah.
There, he's white rage, which I still believe the origins of his white rage has to do with hemorrhoids, but I don't know that. I don't know that.
Oh, maybe Beaker can help him out. Who knows?
Yeah.
Uh, I did just a side note. I did attend opening day this year.
Oh, good.
Football's opening day, which is always a great game. They have the and they're the paratroopers that come in, but it's a big thing for
Yeah,
opening.
it's great.
They beat Lehigh 42-7, I believe it was.
Wow,
That's
that's a
not
good
that
game.
big a deal. I'm thinking, wow, the Army's going to go 1-10 this year. That's going to be pretty cool. But they really looked impressive on the field. They were,
Good.
and they've been fantastic ever since. It's great to see them ranked. I haven't seen them ranked in a while. But again, this could be a very special year for that team.
Could be. It could be could be a magical year for him, and God bless him. But let's go from winners to a loser.
Big loser, by the way.
Jennifer Rubin. Oh
Oh,
man,
she had another meltdown.
This is going to be a show of extremes.
Yep.
Good winners and losers. So,
Oh, well, she was a big loser this time out, and she's been having meltdowns ever since Trump was elected in 2016. Now she has another big one recently, and she's trying to instruct Democrats to take a lower road than normal.
You can't talk broad themes. You have to boil it down to nuts and bolts, and you have to be pithy.
Nuts.
What do I
Pithy. She wants to be pithy. Ladies,
Nuts.
yes.
mean by pithy? How about this? Republicans want to kill your kids.
How about that?
Yeah.
Boy, does she sound angry. Republicans want to kill your kids. Yeah, sure. Okay. You on the what happened to this woman anyway? Wasn't she a conservative at one point? Did she
No. She was hired to play a conservative by
right,
the
a
Washington
fake conservative, if you will. Right.
Post. Yeah. I think she took on the role. And by the way, for the Patriots in the chat, when do you think the last time she had a man in that bed behind her? Look at the picture there. Do you think is it 10 or 20 years? I'm going for 20. Just saying.
Oh.
I'm saying that's
I'm gonna go for 30.
That's a lonely bed. That's a bed that's not been used. Well, used but not abused.
It's an angry one too. Right.
It's
an angry one too. I mean, just look at that face.
Who
Look
really
at her. Look at
believes-
the scowl.
Yeah. I mean, she could be a pirate. As a matter of fact, she probably was a pirate in a previous life, like the HMS Raging Queen.
I could see that. Yar, me hearty. You have to. Oh gosh, she is.
She'd look good with a parrot on her shoulder, don't you think?
Or maybe
That would
Stephen.
spruce her
Or maybe
face up.
Stephen Colbert. Oh, look,
Arr,
she even
Artie,
she even
mate.
looks,
Hey,
she even looks like Stephen Colbert.
hey, Republicans want to kill your kids. Hey, matey. Yeah, do you have a bit of rum? Do you have a rum? I want some rum today. When you kill your kids, I want to watch with rum.
Or she probably had a lot of rum at the latest Pelosi Key party. So
let me say something for the record. We talk on this program, Patriots, about people who are too stupid to know they're stupid.
Right.
That's her. That's the poster child for being too stupid to know that you're stupid. That's beyond loony. That's dangerously stupid.
Well, the reason why, and I've come down to this here. These people for all these years have been told how smart they are. They've been told, well, if you think a certain way, you're a total genius. And of course, the ad comes out and not the actual picture, so that's not good. So they look at us. These liberals are told all through their college lives that they're stupid if they follow a certain way to think, and if you copy what your professors say, you're a genius. You get your accolades, your adulation, and everything else. And they go through life that way. So when they find out they're wrong, they don't know what to do, and they have complete meltdowns. They found that you saw this happen in 2016. Rubin's been on a meltdown since then anyway. And they're thinking to themselves, wait a minute, but people are challenging us, and these facts are telling me I'm wrong, but I can't do that because I've been told all these times I'm intelligent and I'm smart and I'm right, and these people are dumb. So I have to be right. So they double down.
So is this like, you've heard of a patty melt? Is this like a Reuben melt? It's like a combination sandwich?
Yeah. I guess if Colbert does it, it's more of a Rachel, right?
Yeah. Must be. So, well, no, but I think that's the key here is that someone pays her money. So someone, Chris, reinforces her bad judgment. and they pay that price. So I think this is why the Washington Post is, I guess we can say, declining. And Jonathan Turley did an interesting article on this rant, because apparently, incidental to this rant, he said people should boycott the Washington Post. It's like, you work for the Post. So she's upset because they didn't go all in crazy like other folks did on Kamala Harris. She's upset that apparently Kamala Mala Ding Dong didn't get the endorsement by the Post. So Jennifer, who's smarter than the people who own the Post,
Oh, of course.
who are paid by the people who own the Post, think that that boycotting the Post is a good idea. So I'm on board with the boycott. I don't care. I don't read the Post, but what do you think?
Well, I'll say this: a lot of people with any sense of boycotted the Post a long time ago. They put their content, or at least a lot of their content, behind a paywall, thinking there would be enough morons to pay for this god awful content. And then they're telling you, "Hey, you're stupid for thinking a certain way." They finally realized, and again, these are a bunch of leftists who finally realized, and I'm pretty sure of this, that their party is going off the deep end. They're putting up people. They're putting up people who are either absolutely non-serious candidates, not either puppets or anything else. They're almost embarrassed. They still think they're right. Let's not fool ourselves. These people still think the far left is the way to go. But the representation the Democrats have put up there for them in recent, let's say, recent years, has been embarrassing to them. They don't want to be part of that. They want to be able to control and put up somebody a little more charismatic and maybe serious. They need another Obama to stand behind, but they just realize that people like Kamala Harris make them look foolish.
Yeah,
that's why they didn't get any endorsements from these major.
At the same time, they're already looking at Kamala Harris being the lead for 2028. So,
well, again, nobody believes that. Nobody believes that she's going to be the nominee for 2028.
No, I don't believe so, but they do.
Yeah.
I mean, it just shows how stupid they are as a party at this point. I mean, I don't get it. So
it's all they have. It's all they have at this point. They have no bench. What they're going to do is do what they did between 2024 and 2028. They're going to dig through the ranks of the state senators, state legislators, mayors, possibly, and maybe some governors, and figure out who's not well known that they can kind of dress up and prop up to be another Barack Obama, and somebody that the media will not try to investigate because of some protected class. That's what they're looking for, and that's the next candidate.
Yeah. So one other thing I want to roll to, because it's related. Raimondo, new mission: spend money and leave nothing for Trump. And they did this last time for Trump. I don't know if you guys knew this. I was on the transition team. We've talked about this a little bit. And there was no money to run the White House or anything else. It was like, we spent it all. And it was typical of the left. It's like, we want to make sure that we make it as miserable as possible. This is who these people are. And Raimondo, she's a particularly stupid person. Right. I mean, just as people go, as individuals, she's up there with Jennifer Rubin regarding just raw, ignorant stupidity. But here she is saying, we're just going to be bad sports. We're going to pretend that we're not Americans and just screw everybody. Right? I mean, that's what she's doing here, right, Chris?
Well, not only that, here's what's happening. This is the article from Politico at this point. The idea is Gina Raimondo, who, by the way, you remember from her gems at the DNC denying the terrible jobs reports.
Oh,
yeah.
She's stupid. Stupid.
Right. So so apparently what she's trying to do is spend $50 billion in this microchip subsidy program. But again, this money should carry over to the Trump administration to try to maybe straighten things out. But the idea is there are a lot of people that the Democrats owe. So Raimondo is going to say, we're going to spend all the money on these people, our corporate cronies, if you will, before Trump gets in. We're going to deplete the funds and make them look stupid. And you know what? That again is at the taxpayers' expense. And everything they do out of the politics of spite. That's what I call it. The politics of spite is always at the taxpayers' expense. They never have to suffer the consequences.
Yeah. Well, I think a new sheriff's coming, and something like this should be investigated, because this is malfeasance.
It will.
This isn't just incompetence. This is someone purposely trying to disrupt the ability of the inbound administration to do its job. And the folks that Trump picks should have the ability to do their job, and this is going to negate that. So go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Tony. I don't want to throw this at you. If one elects again, now I'm under no delusions here, but this should be how it works. If one elects an administration, because you're not just electing a president, you're electing a party administration and what they stand for and the kind of people that back them up.
Exactly.
That's right. So we pick non-politicians, and that exactly, and non-establishment types. That's exactly what Trump is putting in. But as far as Biden's concerned, these people here, we are entrusting these people to be the fiduciary of our tax money, of the money we send to them by force, if you will, by under punishment of jail or fine or anything else or extra taxes. These people are not. These people are not serving the public properly and not serving as the proper fiduciary they are. They should serve some time or pay some fines for this. Am I off here?
So there's two options as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not a lawyer, but I've had to examine these as options before, working with my friend Bruce Fine and some other constitutional attorneys. There are options to go after public officials. And you can do it criminally, but often the best way is civilly, because civil, I don't know if you know this, Chris, if you get in a situation where you get them into court, you don't have to have like a 12 a jury of 12 agree. You can have like 8 of 12. It's a lower threshold. And oh, by the way, you can fine these people if they don't comply with something. If you go after them after the fact and sue them for malfeasance, you can do some things to really hold them accountable. Let me tell you, if you're fining somebody $25,000 per day for something they did, that gets their attention. Just saying. So I think there needs to be some examination of options on how to get back, some of the malfeasance of these people. So
that makes a lot of sense, because that's how the Democrats got to Donald Trump with the E. Jean Carroll thing. The civil suit. It's always the civil suit. You don't have to be charged with a crime. That's right. We do have George, though.
Speaking of George, another George. George of the Jungle. Good morning, George.
Morning. I was thinking about the woman before. It was a perfect three-bagger, as they say.
A three-bagger. And
look, I don't know if she's allowed in certain buildings based on the fact she might crack the foundation and it would collapse. She's like a physical danger. Like, man, oh man, she's a danger to herself and others. But welcome back, George. So we asked you this before. We're going to ask you again. So what happens to your gear? Are you going to be born to ride? Oh, speaking of things that would stop a train.
Another one.
Man.
Doesn't Gina Raimondo have the same haircut as Nancy Pelosi or something like that?
Yeah. They have the flying monkey style wig. If you put that on, you control flying monkeys. It's like a control. And so anyway, George, I got to ask you a question. So what are you going to do about the number now? You're going to be born to ride 47 or what? Because I don't think Kamala's going to make it.
We're going to get no. We don't know about that one.
45 and 48.
We don't know about that yet. No, we're going to keep it as born to ride for 45. We're going to put a 4 and a 7 on the side of it.
Good.
Each side of the patch. We'll put 4 on one side and 7 on the other side in gold, because it's going to be the golden age, as President Trump said.
Ah, yes. So let's start with that. I got to pop off here in about 5 minutes because I got to go do my other job, Newsmax. But let's start this with the discussion with this for the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the choices so far of cabinet, George? And I think you'll have a good kind of yeoman's view of this. So what do you think?
I have a little favorite.
Golden age.
Matt Gaetz is excellent. He's a personal friend of mine. Also,
good.
Nice.
Waltz is very good, but don't forget that's Waltz with a T. He keeps
not walls. Yeah, no walls.
No dancing on stage. No Tinkerbell in that wall.
But the choices are great. I think J.D. Vance is introducing all of them this morning in the Senate. He's doing a big introduction with all of them, all the choices that Trump and they're going to have no choice in the matter. That's who they're going to pick, and that's who he's going to put in, no matter what, because they got their recess appointment act there. They can pull, and that's for 2 years, and then he can extend it for another 200 days. I think they're all I think they're all puking. And also, what Musk told them all, if they didn't prove all the picks that President Trump did, he's going to dump millions in the opponents of that run against him in the Senate and Congress.
Hey,
So,
that's how it works. That's exactly how it works. Look, the Democrats get all the Hollywood money, or most of the vast majority of the Hollywood money. That's how they get to make certain races a little closer than they should be. Remember all the money that they poured into Georgia some years ago?
oh yeah,
Trying to
yeah.
win
Yeah.
that? Remember the money they poured into Robert Francis O'Rourke? Beto.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Beto.
Right. So it's if fair is fair. Now we have some powerful gajillionaires on our side. And now the Democrats are crying foul, even though even though Hollywood money has been going to local out-of-state campaigns when it comes to them.
Well, I think it's only fair that Musk is in, and Musk isn't. It's just not about money. It's about who Musk is. I mean, he's innovating. I think it was significant yesterday that they attended the launch. That is, the entire team attended the launch in Texas of Musk's rocket, of the Starship. So I think that was good. But George, back on the choices here real quick. Now, there's going to be controversy. One of them, like I saw the New York Post today, I'm very disappointed in the Post, did an editorial saying, dump Gates and dump Tulsi. Now, I know Tulsi. Like, you know Gates, I know Tulsi. Tulsi is a friend.
No, Tulsi's
And,
good.
yeah, I've been working with Tulsi since she was, back in 10 years now. I've been advising Tulsi for 10 years. And I've never hidden it. As a matter of fact, when I was the national security advisor to Trump 2020, they knew I was out talking to Tulsi. As a matter of fact, I worked to bridge information between she and the Pentagon. So, what do you make of the fact that you've got The View and all these other Hollywood types? I guess, Chris, they're Hollywood types. They're bad Hollywood types.
Yeah,
Attacking these folks. Yeah. So
I think the choices that they made, the ones that outstand the most, I think, is the ones that are more threatening to the left than anything else, between the Congress and the Senate of the Democrats. That's what I think, because they know where Tulsi's coming from, and they know where Matt Gates is. I mean, Matt Gates did the smartest thing, is like resigned from Congress, and he's all gun ho about what he's going to do. And he's going to go after a lot of people, and I hope, like I said, that they all agree about the J6s and stuff, which is very positive about what's going to happen.
Oh yeah,
about them. And the choices are fantastic. I mean, don't forget when he went in there 2017, Deep State had everybody picked for him already. Like General Flynn was supposed to be his first VP, and then
I was there. Oh, I saw it.
They tried to pull a GHW Bush on him. That's right.
Previous got in there. He's, no, you need Pence because of the evangelicals and all that stuff and everything else. And Kelly, I just hope that when they reinstate everybody, they all get court-martialed between Kelly. I call Millie.
Mark Milley. So look, we're just talking about Mark earlier. So, that's something I think that Pete Hegseth will do, and they're already talking about this board of review for warriors. And the left is all upset. Well, it's like, the president has a right to pick anybody he wants. It's the executive branch. The Pentagon is part of it, and it's not unheard of. I don't know if you knew this, George, but in 1940, General Marshall, the chief of staff of the Army, had a board examining how to get rid of deadwood. So this has been done before. This is not extraordinary. So I'll leave you guys to talk about that, Chris. I got to go, but I'll see you guys on the other end of my hit. I'll be, for those, don't leave the show. Keep watching. I'll be over doing a quick hit on Newsmax. Be right back. Talk to you all.
You can always watch. Yeah, you can always watch it on reruns there. So at this point, I'll take over here, and Cheryl Chumley will be joining us in just a few moments. So George, I want to give you this, and I want to give this to the Patriots. What do you all think of this point here when it comes to Tulsi Gabbard? Why the hate for Donald Trump back in 2016, 2012? It got worse when he became a more serious candidate. One of the main reasons is because he was one of them. Donald Trump was a donor. He was at all their parties. He was the sober guy, by the way. The man does not drink. So he knows what's going on. He knows what they're all about. He knows what they do behind the scenes. He was a big donor to the Clinton Foundation, Democrats all over the place. So he was one of them. He turns the other way, more populist, runs against them. They know he knows what's going on. Well, Tulsi Gabbard was also one of them. She was at the freshman congressman meetings where they explain how things work out. She was at the she caucused with these people. She knows what their how they think, what they do, what their machinations and tactics are, and what their intent is. So now that she's on the Trump team, and she's going to have a very powerful position within intelligence, knowing what they've done to intelligence in that community over the years. Think about that. That is why they're so against. Gates is Gates, but that's why they're so against Tulsi Gabbard being anywhere as close to Donald Trump. Right.
And also RFK
is another one. He was one. Well, RFK was more of an outcast with them too, but yeah, he was a Kennedy, so he's part of that too. These people know what they're all about, and they can expose them rather easily when they have the documents and everything else in their hands.
Oh yeah, that's going to be big once they do it. You know, the best thing that who they picked, Ratcliffe for the CIA. All those papers are going to come out of there. And then you're going to have, Gates as the Attorney General, and then you're going to have the left cross that comes out now. It's Kash Patel for the FBI director.
Yeah, they're running scared. All the rats, and I noticed this, George, all the rats are running scared at this point because you're having these DOJ officials consulting with attorneys. It doesn't happen. When somebody comes in and fires dead wood, they just people just put resignations in and say, all right, I got to go. We understand change of scenery, change of leadership. I don't agree with the guy. I don't like the guy. I'm going to go to private practice. No, these people are worried now that they're going to be thrown in jail. They're worried that something bad is going to happen to them. And not because Donald Trump is going after political enemies. No, because Donald Trump is going after corruption.
That's right.
And that's what's going to happen. And all of them, and Jack Smith pulled back. You have Judge Marchand, who delayed sentencing for 4 years now of Donald Trump. They're all scared.
Oh, they're scared. I think besides them, I think they're on suicide watch. Besides, and then I think Prozac stock of pharmaceutical companies again. Because
right. And don't be fooled by Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg is going out in public saying, no, I want these prosecutions to continue. I know what's going on, because this is what I call safe political grandstanding. You know something's not going to go through, but you want to pretend you stand by your principles and say, all right, well, I want to fight Donald Trump. Letitia James is going to do the same thing. We all know it's not going to go through now, do they? Not at all, because everybody else is saying this is not going to happen. We can't let it happen. We're all going to get in trouble. And they're going to run and hide. While Bragg can run next time he wants to run for Manhattan DA and say, look, I stuck by my guns against Donald Trump. You should vote for me in a heavy Democrat city.
Yeah, he's running again.
Yeah.
Alan's running again. So it's baby.
And that's what he's going to do.
Like the lawyer said about the President Trump's lawyer said he's going to put her ass back in jail and stuff like that. It keeps on.
Oh, yeah, that's Letitia James. That's another one. I will say this: Letitia James, she kept her campaign promises, but the charges, this 34 felonies, were all phony. They were and one can argue that a lot of these were born of misdemeanors anyway. The idea was to get Trump to deplete his resources and take his attention. What they really did was give him a free, free campaign commercials. With that, I want to introduce Cheryl Chumley of the Brave and Bold podcast and the Washington Times. Welcome to Wake Up Patriots. And by the way, I don't look like Tony. Tony will be back. He's doing a hit with Newsmax. He's left the inmates in charge.
Well, good morning, fellow inmates. It's great to be with you.
How are you?
Hey, yo, there we go. See, how can I Ed McMahon myself? I need an Ed McMahon here. I don't know. But the idea is we're talking about what's been going on with the cabinet picks. You have Donald Trump making inch by inch, he's making new cabinet picks, and they're just scaring the left, and they're making them cower further and further. Some of them are trying to fight back with words and smears and everything else, but it's not working. What do you make of some of these keen nominations? And again, anti-establishment ones.
Yeah, well, in all fairness to the left, they would have resisted and rebelled against any name that Donald Trump brought forward. right? So maybe this isn't as particular to the actual candidates themselves as it is to the mentality of the left to protest anything conservative in this country. And as far as his picks, I'm great with them all, really. From Matt Gaetz to Sean Duffy. I think he's got a fine lineup, and what I like mostly is that they're all picked to shake up the status quo, which is what Trump campaigned upon. So it should be no surprise, and which is what he is actually bringing forward with these picks.
That's what we voted for. That's what Patriots, that's what you voted for. You didn't vote for a bunch of neocons, did you? No. You didn't vote for a bunch of establishment Republicans, did you? No. You voted to shake up the system that needed the shaking up. We have had people on this program who are true patriots that back in 2008 voted for Barack Obama. And the reason was because he was seen as an outsider. In fact, it's funny because you probably heard about AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, trying to study how people in her district voted for Trump and her at the same time. Again, she's an insider. She plays ball just like Bernie Sanders. I don't want to hear anybody else. He's no longer an outsider. Having said that, I'll digress. But the perception of certain people being outsiders perks people up. The populist vote, people are sick and tired of politicians. They don't want to deal with these people, right or left. The neocons have learned their lesson now, or at least, well, they should have learned their lesson by now, shouldn't they have?
Yeah, I was about to say, when you said the neocons have learned their lessons, the first thing that popped in my mind was, have they really?
Yeah,
because
slipped up on that.
I think we would all like to believe that, right? Because we're optimistic. We're looking forward to an America that is unified, that is all brought together, except maybe the few nut jobs in America under a MAGA America First type of principle, which is not racist. It's all about America first. And I think it would be a folly, though, to think that the left is going to sort of unify under these principles, and the rhinos in the Republican Party. I already see many in the Senate, the usual crowd of Republicans that vote Democrat. I already see them banding together to wage a resistance against Donald Trump and stymie his agenda.
George, Cheryl, can we actually call something a resistance if it's pro-establishment? They call themselves the resistance. They're pro-establishment.
Well, they're resistant to MAGA. They're resistant to change. They're resistant more to the will of the American people. And that's where the problem lies, because everything that Donald Trump and his picks for cabinet positions and leadership roles bring forward is to put America first. And that's what citizens wanted. And for Democrats to stand against that and to resist it is basically a slap in the face to the American people. And I don't keep meaning, George, to weigh in. It's just, I wait that 1 second, and if I don't hear anything, I start talking. So
no, it's okay. I think they're more terrified of the MAGA movement than anything else. I mean, I believe we're like in the eye of the storm right now, because they're trying to get all their cards together, Democrats, because they don't know which way to turn. And besides, they're eating their own as it goes on, because they can't believe they lost the way they lost. And they did cheat.
Yes.
They didn't cheat, but we beat them at their own game. So that blew them away. Like the same thing what happened with Hillary. They got all. But the problem is the people the rhinos that are in there, they have to learn a lesson. And like McConnell wants to fight this thing, and he's just going to lose what he wants. I mean, the guy he has a lot of money, and a lot of the senators know he has a lot of money. He has a big purse. So they're worried about getting his money. But not only that, now because of what Musk said, what we discussed before about he'll dump money to the opponents of every one of the senators or congressmen that go against Trump, which I think that's a big plus, because, he's got the money, and, and it's not going to happen like he did before. Before people were chosen in 2016, 2017, the people were chosen for Trump because he didn't know the difference. Now he knows the difference. He knows who he could trust.
That's fair. And by the way, the left is very scared of Matt Gaetz, because they went the neocons and the left went after him when he stood up to McCarthy. So now they're afraid he's going to hold some people responsible for that. Fact is, though, this RD Bull of our Patriots in the live chat here brought this up. Who hacked Gates? Nobody hacked Gates. Do you really believe a hacker pulled this information out? I will submit to both of you that it was somebody with knowledge that decided to leak the information out to the press just to smear Matt Gates.
And that was McCarthy.
That's the new McCarthyism.
McCarthy spent, I think, close to $20 million to Gates' opponent up in the Panhandles. $20 million. He didn't want him to win for nothing.
Nope.
You know, Matt, I tell you, Matt can't be bought. The lobbyists can't touch him at all or nothing else. He's a pure, and he's very loyal to President Trump. I know him for a long time. We're personal friends, and he's very, very loyal to President Trump. And that's what Trump wants. He wants loyalty. He doesn't care how much experience you may have, but you'd be surprised at what people could learn when they get into that job and find out what all the BS that's in there when they clean house and stuff. So.
And that's really why Democrats hate Matt Gaetz so much, because of his loyalty. If you go back in time and you remember Eric Holder bragging about being the wingman of Barack Obama, right, when he was head of Justice Department, and they're afraid that Matt Gaetz is going to be the same type of wingman for Donald Trump, and they're right. I mean, he's just the person to resist the media storm that is coming as soon as Donald Trump is inaugurated, and he'll plow through and he'll enact an agenda that brings out the deep state from their dark corners, and that's why the left hates him so much.
Yeah, what they're going to, I believe they're going to pull something off. Usually there's one or two people who are questionable nominations. And I'm not saying that Gates is questionable from my point of view, but I'm saying that there might be a chance he doesn't make it through the Senate. The idea is it's almost like when a baseball team pushes some of their better play or some of their players they're never going to trade through waivers during the trade or around a little after the trade deadline or something around there, and they sneak other guys under there just so they can make a better trade. Well, the idea is, I'm thinking that, now consider this: Rubio is going to be the Secretary of State. That's going to be an easy push through for him. He's going to be dealing with Trump, and he's going to have to follow the Trump line or else. And Trump can find somebody else if he has to. That leaves a Senate seat open in Florida. All right, now see where I'm going here? Gates may not get the nomination. So Trump gets his other nominations, brings in somebody tougher and more experienced than Gates to become Attorney General, who will be harsher on corruption, just they don't know it yet. He's more mild-mannered. Gates becomes the appointed senator coming out of Florida. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, go ahead. You go first, Cheryl.
I was just going to say, I could see that happening. I mean, I'm sure all the appointments that Donald Trump has named have been well thought out, and not just for the characteristics that individual brings to the post, but also how it will impact the political spectrum, right? And not just in the here and now, but perhaps even for years down the road. So, a strategy like that, I definitely could see happening.
Well, my opinion would be, I think Laurel Trump will be in that Senate seat. So the big positive between, DeSantis and Trump, that would be a big amends, real big time amends. And I think Gates going to stay exactly where he is. I think he'll be the Attorney General.
It's an interesting point, though. Let's say if he does get pushed, yeah, you can see Lara Trump. I'm not sure if the publicity behind assigning a Trump into a Senate seat would be very good for everybody all around. And considering a 2026, the need to gain more House seats in 2026 and more Senate seats moving forward might cause a little, let's say, political problem for them if the public sees nepotism involved. That might be an issue. But Gates as senator, people in Florida are going to be very happy with that. And that's something, and anybody else around the country isn't going to care, because there's nothing, because really it's a political reward either way, and he'd be an effective senator. That would be the thought. Lara Trump would be effective too, but there's some political perceptions that might cost seats in the House and Senate by the time 2026 rolls around. Again, thoughts on that?
It's you, Cheryl.
I mean, I was going to say I like her in the Senate seat. I think that's fine. I'm just looking at the overall picture of what Donald Trump is bringing forward and the protests from the left, and I'm just wondering what is the Democrats' end game here? Because no matter who Donald Trump appoints, they're going to oppose. But no matter who Donald Trump appoints, is going to be loyal to him anyhow, and the agenda is going to go forward no matter what. So Democrats ought to tread carefully here, given the landslide approval of Donald Trump and the mandate he's been handed by the American people. Democrats should tread carefully about spending their political capital and protesting and opposing every single candidate that Donald Trump brings forward, because the American people have spoken loud and clear here, and they want what Donald Trump is bringing.
Yeah, well, not only did he win the electoral votes, he won the popular votes also. So, I mean, it's the will of the people. Like we said before that, Kamala had stars and President Trump had people. And that was the big difference. The people were behind him. He went into barbershops, whatever he had to do. He did what he had to do to get the people to make him understand who he is. Because, I know Trump. I met him a few times and spoke to him. He's down to earth. And I know him from construction in New York. I was a construction worker. I was in the trade center when a plane hit too. And what he did then, how much he helped out New York during the time of with the buildings, and what he did with Giuliani, people don't know exactly who he is until, J.D. Vance had a thing about President Trump until he got to know him. RFK had something about Trump until he got to know him. Same thing with Tulsi. All the people that he picked, he built a relationship with them. But not just a relationship, but he made it like a family. And that's what he's creating, is he's creating a family that he's going to be, say, the father, say, and guide for everything else. He respects Musk, Elon so much, it's like unbelievable. I mean, you could see the connection he has. I mean, RFK even had to eat a McDonald's on a plane because that's what he was served. Say where he's coming from. It's just amazing.
Well, what we've been being served is a lot of trouble in the markets recently, and hopefully they'll straighten out sometime in the course of the next few years. But with the effects of Biden inflation still going on here, the government's still printing a lot of money. The dollar has been worth almost nothing. You're talking about 3% from its original spending power. It might be time to get some of your financial future secured with some gold and silver. And that's why Wake Up Patriots partners with our friend and sponsor, Colonial Metals Group. And you hear from, of course, Paul every month here now from us. And we love Paul Stone. He's a really great guy and love talking to him. So he'll be here with us the first week of December, first Tuesday. But Colonial Metals Group will help you set up a self-directed IRA where you can have access to your assets no matter what the stock market or government's doing. Let the team of experts at Colonial Metals Group and people like Paul Stone help you out here. Check it out. Check them out at colonialmetalsgroup.com. That's colonialmetalsgroup.com/Ed Henry. It's colonialmetalsgroup.com/Ed-Henry. That's the better way to put it. Or should we say hyphen? You see, that little dash is really a hyphen. Anyway, so it's colonialmetalsgroup.com/Ed-Henry. Check him out. That's Ed. I can't call him an evil overlord because Tony's my evil overlord. So maybe he's the double evil overlord for us. Look at me. I'm the Baldric of the place. If Ed's the king, Tony's the Blackadder, I happen to be the dog's body. I'm Baldric. So that's how it works for me. But it could work better for you. Just to check it out, colonialmetalsgroup.com, or give them a call. /Ed-Henry. Give them a call at 800-805-4034. That's 800-405-8. Sorry, I'll get that number again. That's 800. We'll get that one more time because of my vision here. This is what happens when you're nearsighted and you're doing live radio or live streams at the same time. That's 800-805-4034. How about that? Here's another thing. Joe Biden and the Biden administration. I brought this up yesterday. Have you guys seen the movie War Games?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Remember that movie back in the 80s, War Games?
I do. Matthew Broderick, right?
Yep. And of course, my favorite actor, Eddie Deason, was in it. the point of the matter, or part of the plot, was surrounded this thing called Operation Spoiled Sport, where if America lost a nuclear confrontation with the Soviet Union, it would trigger a massive launch of all the rest of our nuclear arsenal at the Soviet Union as sort of a spoiled sore loser type event, just to destroy the world to spite the Democrats are doing this through what I call the politics of spite, in a spoiled sport fashion, by going nuclear. We talked about Gina Raimondo trying to deplete the funds for this for a tech initiative before Donald Trump gets in and brings maybe more reasonable companies into the fray. Or you're looking at right now Joe Biden giving the Ukrainians permission to launch American-made missiles into Russia, knowing full well Putin would lower his threshold to potentially advance a nuclear confrontation, but also potentially starting World War III. What are your thoughts on this? Because this is what I'm seeing here, and almost not only a major hissy fit in public, but a sort of a covert or slightly underneath the surface Operation Spoil Sport going on to kind of ruin things for the incoming Trump administration. And yes, at the expense of the American people and those living in war-torn countries.
Well, you remember under the Clintons, right? When the Clintons left the White House and the Democrats staffers stole all the stuff from the White House, right?
Oh yeah, the silverware and the art. Yeah.
So it reminds me of that, but on steroids. I mean, this is how wicked the Democrat Party has become. They've gone from stealing things from the White House to creating World War III for the incoming president to deal with, simply because they don't like the incoming president's policies. I mean, every American here should be completely outraged at what's going on, because right now, the ability or the chance for World War III to launch depends largely on Putin being restrained, looking ahead to Donald Trump taking the White House in January, and thinking that he can just hold off for a couple months until the new administration comes in, and he's fearful of what Trump may or may not do. So that's where we're at in America right now. Our foreign policy is dependent on leaders with hostile intents to America restraining themselves out of fear of the incoming administration. But the fact that Democrats would play politics in such a destructive way with potential to launch an all-out World War III is just, it's an outrage. Every American should just be up in arms about this right now.
I have another scenario. How's this one? They're going to, because of what he did and gave permission, they're going to say that he's losing his mind, number one. They'll come out with the tapes, the FBI. They'll take him down with invoke the 25th Amendment, make Kamala the 47th president of the United States. Sounds crazy, but it's possible. And they would satisfy a lot of the people on the left that she became a president of color because she doesn't know if she's black or Indian. But that's one scenario that could happen because of to satisfy the left.
I thought of that, George. I really thought of that when you brought up. I think I brought up slightly during the show a while ago when it was.
Yeah,
but here, I want to submit this to you, George, and Cheryl. I want to get your thoughts on this too. It would be a good idea as far as symbolism over substance. The problem is, if I'm Kamala Harris, I would be embarrassed. I would be mortified if they just gave me a participation trophy move like that. Remember, she's still a Generation Xer. She didn't grow up in the participation trophy generation, so that mentality still might be there. And she would, if I were her, I'd turn back and throw it at him and say, "Look, I want to run again. I don't want to be the token president for 2 months and then go written down in history as the joke." And this would, Cheryl, your thoughts on this too, this would set women in politics backwards another 20, 25 years, because all she would have been was a trophy president.
Well, I mean, all she is right now is a trophy vice president, a trophy border czar. I mean, she hasn't done anything that has been a success since she's been in politics. And though I don't put it past Democrats from trying to achieve that scenario that you described, George, I just don't think that the Donald Trump administration, with the mandate of the American people, would allow that to happen. I see what's going to come about more as just meddling in the incoming administration's ability for a smooth transition to deal directly and with priority the domestic policy that he's promised first and foremost, and already having to come into office and deal with an escalation in a warlike situation. But as far as Kamala Harris as president, as vice president, as board as czar, she's a failure at whatever she does anyhow.
And they did give her a chance to distinguish herself, by the way. The Democrats were hanging their hopes that they could 25th. I mean, these are my thoughts looking at this. I'm sure the Democrats were hanging their hopes that they could they could get Biden to step down or 25th Amendment him maybe in 2023 to give Harris a chance to distinguish herself and become a president, and then run again as an incumbent, potentially with a chance of being president for 10 years. The full limit of the any kind of presidency, but she was unable to distinguish herself. She made herself look like a complete fool each time she was in public, and it even scared the Democrats enough where they had to prop Joe Biden up for this long. I don't. It would just be an embarrassment for them to make that move. And besides, I don't think they want to. I don't think they want to make you change those 47 things you have there, George, to 48 now.
Well, I'm pretty sure the. President Trump bought number 48 already, just in case. But
that's a smart move.
But the whole thing is, Congressman Nichols, remember he came out with that chart with the shadow cabinet?
Yeah.
That he wants to create. I mean, they're grabbing at all straws and everything else. It just amazes me how they're gonna. What they're gonna do is destroy each other. The Democrats are gonna implode. Put it that way. I think because of all the stuff they're trying to pull to make an excuse for how they lost, to make the people. I mean, you got crazy people out there rubbing their head. I mean,
that's true.
Rubbing their head like crazy.
What I need to do now is pass the baton back to Tony Shaffer, who is joining us back from Newsmax, and
that's right.
I need to say the Hayos again instead of everybody else.
Heyo. That's right. So, well, George, to that point, do you think they could put Adam Schiff, the shadow Darth Vader, on one of Elon Musk's ships and shoot him up into orbit and leave him there permanently?
Oh, yeah.
It's possible.
When I met President Trump a long time ago, I gave him that name. That's why President Trump used it, Pencil Neck.
Yes. But no. But I have a political question for Cheryl. Cheryl, is it possible that Adam Schiff's mother had a conjugal visit with Charles Manson? Because they have the same eyes. I mean, if you look at the eyes, Charles Manson and Adam Schiff, they're like the same. They're like the same.
I don't know. Inquiring minds want to know, right?
Yeah.
Well, here you go.
I think that'd be a great movie.
Adam Schiff is the Grand Moff Tarkin of politics. There you go.
That's right. That's right.
We were hoping.
So, well, I still think somebody ought to investigate Charles Manson and Adam Schiff's mom. Just saying, I think there's something there.
Well,
I don't want to sound like a conspiracy guy, but
here's the problem with Steve Garvey's run against Adam Schiff. Steve Garvey's weapon of choice is the baseball bat. The only way to beat a politician in California is with a hammer. Well, that's another story.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning.
Remember, Tony always kept the bat with the glove in the car. You always kept the glove with the bat in the trunk of the car because you never wanted to get by the cop.
Well, let's ask. But Cheryl, what do you make? So I apologize. I had to go do my other job. But what do you make of official Washington? You're there right now. I'm not, although I'll be up there several times in December. People have to understand. And I guess that's why, to George's point, the Democrats are freaking out with this shadow government. How much resistance do you see coming this time versus 2016 to 2017? Any judgments on that at all?
I actually see a double down of resistance, right? Because Democrats, yeah, I do. When have you ever known Democrats to concede with courtesy, right? I mean, good point. Bob Casey in Pennsylvania, my God, he had the court 7-0, tell him stop counting, right? Let it go. And so this is how it's going to be for 4 more years. And if we think, well, Trump got the mandate of the American people, Democrats have to recognize that. Just listen to the pundits on media and listen to the Democrat leadership. They're not going to. It's going to be twice as bad.
No.
Well, I think you might remember back when Trump was elected at first, you had all these sitting Congress members, by the way, telling everybody to resist. And if you might remember that even Maxine Waters told people to harass everybody in public, to harass, to just don't let anybody have any peace. This is the kind of thing you're going to see.
I'm coming, Elizabeth. I'm coming.
I was like the interchanges between Sanford and Aunt Esther. Esther, if you went to a beauty parlor, they'd have to change its name to an ugly parlor. Anyway,
that's right. Well, to that point, though, I see a lot of changes in the way the Democrats are behaving internally. So, Cheryl, first to you, then to George. I see AOC removed her pronouns. What do you make of that?
Yeah, well, she says she did it to save space on her X feed, right? She wouldn't lie. She wouldn't lie to us, Tony, right? I mean, she's very forthcoming and honest. No. So, yeah, the LGBTQ lunacy has really some Democrats rethinking their positions on that. That is true. But if honestly, just give it time. Watch the Democrats come out and create and fabricate some sort of scandal against Trump as soon as they can. And they're going to run roughshod with it through the media. And we're going to get the same sort of Russia collusion type of atmosphere up there. I'm truly surprised that Maxine Waters and other Democrats haven't already called for the impeachment of Donald Trump like they did before he even was inaugurated in 2016. So I just think, some Democrats like AOC are rethinking positions and publicly backtracking, but just give it a little time. They're going to double down soon.
Well, that's a good point. And I think people may have forgotten that even our old boss, Dr. Herb London, before he passed, had been told that, and he told me this in December of 2016, that there was already a group of lawyers and academics who were seeking to impeach Trump. I mean, this was a plan before he even took the oath. And some of those people you still see out there. Mark Zaid, my former attorney, who we sued, by the way, just saying. Mark Zaid is out right now on CNN saying that they're looking for predicates to help members of the current administration file complaints against Trump. And he's not even in yet.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Well, it's a fake, phony fraud in its own. Here's another thing that I believe is a big indicator and another reason why the Biden administration, the deep state, is very, very terrified and upset. Even this man, Yuval Noah Harari, he of the people don't have any souls or freedom is just
he doesn't have a soul.
Natural.
He's speaking for himself. He doesn't have a soul.
Here's what he said. And this blog calls him a renowned professor. But anyway, Yuval Noah Harari had remarked ahead of the election, I'm going to say it again, the Trump win will, quote, be like a death blow to what remains of the global world order.
Yeah.
And that's another thing they're very scared of.
I don't think it's going to be the death. I wish he's correct. I hope it does turn out that way. But George, one of the things these globalists have always sought is to subordinate the United States, our economy, our concepts, our political will to them. So do you agree with Harari? What's his name, Chris?
Yuval Noah Harari.
Harari. Do you think Harari's right?
The patron demon of the World Economic Forum.
Do you think we're going to end the world order, or do you think they're just going to kind of go to ground?
I think so, because President came out with the most greatest words. He says we are entering the golden age. Yeah. And saying those words terrified all of them about with the brick. Because now, if you have to buy anything from America, you got to pay in gold.
Yeah. So
that will make the dollar more stronger. And then the New World Order will be on suicide watch them too, because they can't control. The nucleus of power is the United States. And what Trump has planned is going to be unstoppable. And it's not going to break us apart at all because of the people he has behind him and the people that he picked for the cabinet and stuff. So it's all people that he could trust. And that was the biggest important thing that what he did with his appointees.
Well, one last question. We'll get to wrap it up here. But Cheryl, one last question to you. We have, 2 months? About 2 months to go before Trump comes in. We got, 2 months.
Yes.
2 months to the day, right? Today's the 20th?
Yeah. Oh, that would be nice. Yes, that's right.
So my question to you, Cheryl, is how desperate will the left become to prevent Trump from ever taking the oath of office on the 20th of January? How desperate are they going to get?
Well, look what they're doing with Ukraine and Russia, right? They're
Yeah.
trying to launch the third world war. So, yeah, they are extremely desperate. And I would just look. From a news perspective, every day there's going to be something new coming out about Donald Trump or about some of his picks, anything to stymie his agenda, anything to stall his taking office. But look, he will be inaugurated. It's just going to be a continual fight. It's not really time to rest easy as a patriotic American. We just have to dig down and realize that the MAGA agenda will go forward, but not without fight from the left.
That's right. George, did you hear the latest allegation that they're going to go after Matt Gaetz for moping with intent to loiter? Oh my goodness, that's going to be quite the charge to overcome.
Well, look, that's not as far-fetched as you think. How do you think Looney Luna threw Borsellino in jail in Brazil? It was some kind of paperwork malfunction or something like that. So yeah,
It's just amazing
it'll be interesting
how the lobbyists are right across the street from the Capitol. That's how close they are. So they got to lose control.
Well, that's the thing. I think that all the lobbyists down at the Capitol Grill there on
K Street.
They're going to have a lot less business probably once Trump rolls in. I know from the Pentagon at least, because I think the intention is to take a lot of the. I don't think they're going to appoint a lot of Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and other lobbyists or corporatists to the Pentagon. Just saying. So it's going to be an interesting change.
Pharmaceutical is going to be
good. Well, so I'd like to have you both back next week at some point because we're going to continue the discussions. We'll know more about the picks for the Pentagon because I've said before, I think, Cheryl, you know this from being in D.C., Pete Hegseth is only going to be able to do so much as SecDef. While I think it's a good choice, it's going to be all the undersecretaries and assistant undersecretaries who's really going to have to put the pedal to the metal and the rubber to the road to make things happen over there. Because man, oh man, that bureaucracy runs deep and runs hard, and it's going to take a lot to get into that because the Pentagon does not like change. No bureaucracy likes change. So DOJ, FBI. They're all going to fight it, so it's going to be quite the fight. So we'll have discussions on that
as the stomach turns.
Yeah, that's right. Anyway, well, Cheryl, George, thank you for being here today. Patriots, thank you for being here today. We'll see you all again really soon. Well, so this is it for this week. Our evil overlord Ed has limited us to 3 days and 3 hours per week, but we're trying to change that. We're trying to break out of the gulag that he's put us in.
You see, as I said before, he's your evil overlord. You're my evil overlord. Right. So look what he's a double evil overlord. There we go.
That's right.
By the way,
catch
Trixie and Deborah Lynn on Friday. By the way,
that's right. You'll see them on Friday. We'll see us back on Monday. Anyway, Cheryl, George, Chris, thank you all for being here.
Have a good one.
And Patriots, we'll see you next week. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Thanks again.